My sister, an airline pilot, called me. I need to ask something strange. Your wife, is she home? Yeah, I said. She's in the living room. Her voice dropped. Impossible. I'm looking at her right now, boarding my flight to Paris with another man. Then I heard the front door open behind me. I need to ask something strange. My sister Emma's voice crackled through the phone, and I could hear the muffled roar of jet engines behind her. She's a pilot for Delta, been flying international routes for 12 years. Your wife, is she home? I glanced toward the living room where Rachel had been curled up on the couch 20 minutes ago, binge-watching some Netflix series about British royalty. Yeah, I said, stirring the pasta sauce I'd been making. She's watching TV. Why? That's impossible, Jake. Emma's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. I'm looking at her right now. She just boarded my flight to Paris, business class, seat 3A, with some guy in a suit. The wooden spoon slipped from my hand and clattered into the pot, splashing marinara across the stovetop. Emma, that's behind me. I heard the front door open. Hey, babe! Rachel's voice echoed from the entryway, bright and cheerful. Sorry, grocery run took forever. They were out of that sourdough you like, so I had to try 3 different stores. I stood frozen in our kitchen, phone pressed to my ear, listening to my wife of 5 years walking toward me. Her footsteps, the rustle of reusable grocery bags, that familiar humming she does when she's in a good mood. But my sister was 30,000 feet away, watching my wife board a plane with another man. Emma, I whispered, turning away so Rachel wouldn't see my face. Send me a photo, right now. Jake, I can't just, please. 10 seconds later, my phone buzzed. I opened the image with shaking hands. There she was, Rachel's distinctive red hair, that specific shade somewhere between copper and auburn that catches light like fire. The black leather jacket I'd bought her for Christmas after she'd stared at it in the store window for 3 weeks straight. She was laughing, head thrown back, one hand on some silver-haired man's arm. The guy looked like he'd stepped out of a Forbes cover. Tailored navy suit, expensive watch catching the terminal lights, that casual confidence that comes with old money. I have to go, I told Emma, my voice sounding strange even to my own ears. Jake, wait. I hung up. Rachel walked into the kitchen carrying 2 Whole Foods bags, her cheeks flushed from the cold November air. She was wearing her gray yoga pants and my old Columbia sweatshirt. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, no makeup. The tiny scar above her left eyebrow, from when she'd fallen off her bike at 14, was visible. Want me to make that pasta thing you like? She asked, setting the bags on the counter. I found fresh basil at the 3rd place. I stared at her. Same green eyes, with those gold flecks around the pupils. Same constellation of freckles across her nose. Same scar on her left hand from our camping trip in Yosemite when she'd cut herself opening a can of beans. Every detail. Exact. Actually, I said carefully, forcing my voice to stay level, I need to run to the office. Emergency. Client's server went down. She frowned, reaching out to touch my arm. On Saturday night, can't someone else handle it? Her hand felt warm, real, solid. I'm the only one with admin access to their backup system. Should just be an hour, maybe 2. Okay. She stood on her toes to kiss my cheek. I'll keep the pasta warm. I grabbed my keys and walked out to my car, my hands shaking so badly I had trouble getting the key in the ignition. I sat there in our driveway for a full minute, staring at our house, the one we'd bought together 3 years ago, the one with the porch we'd painted blue because Rachel loved that shade, the one with her herb garden out front. Then I pulled up the photo Emma had sent and zoomed in. The jacket, the stitching on the left shoulder where she'd caught it on a fence, the small scorch mark near the bottom from when she'd leaned too close to a campfire. My jacket, my wife's jacket, but my wife was inside making pasta. I drove to the Starbucks on Maple Street, the one far enough from home that Rachel wouldn't randomly show up, and called my college roommate, Trevor Hollis. We'd lived together junior and senior year at Berkeley. After graduation, I'd gone into IT security consulting. Trevor had taken a different path, private security, corporate intelligence, the kind of work that required discretion and didn't ask too many questions about client motivations. He answered on the second ring. Jake, what's wrong? I need you to track someone, I said. My wife. Silence. Then, Jesus, Jake, you sure about this? Just do it. I'll pay whatever. It's not about money. His voice was careful, the tone people use when they think you're having some kind of breakdown. But if you're serious, I need to know, am I looking for infidelity, financial irregularities, or everything? I need to know everything. Where she is right now, where she's been, credit cards, phone records, everything you can legally access. This is about more than catching her cheating, isn't it? Trevor, please, I'll explain later. How fast can you do this? Give me 2 hours. I sat in that Starbucks nursing a coffee I didn't want, my phone face down on the table, trying not to look at Emma's photo for the 100th time. Around me, normal people lived normal Saturday nights. A group of teenagers arguing about a movie, a couple on a first date, all awkward smiles and nervous laughter, an old man reading a paperback thriller. My phone rang at 8:47 p.m. Your wife is definitely definitely not on a plane to Paris, Trevor said without preamble. I have her phone pinging from your home address. Location services show she's been there all evening. But Jake, there's something weird. My stomach dropped. What? Her credit card just got flagged, not declined, just flagged, for a first-class ticket to Paris, American Express Platinum, purchased 3 weeks ago. Round trip, open return. I closed my eyes. How many passengers? 2, both first class. Total charge, 14,147 pounds. Who's the second passenger? That's the thing. I can't see the name without accessing airline records directly, which crosses into illegal territory. But Jake, there's more. I ran a deeper financial analysis. Your wife's been moving money. Small transfers, spread out over 6 months, always under $10,000 to avoid automatic federal reporting. My blood went cold. How much total? So far, $340,000. Maybe more. I'm still tracing the accounts. Most of it's going to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. Business account, registered to an LLC called Meridian Consulting Group. I thought I might throw up. Can you find out who owns that LLC? Already on it. Give me another hour. I hung up and sat there, staring at nothing. Around me, the Starbucks chatter continued. Someone laughed. The espresso machine hissed. A baby cried. $340,000. That was almost everything we'd saved. The house down payment I'd inherited from my grandfather. Rachel's bonus from last year. Our emergency fund. The money we'd been saving to start a family. Gone. My phone buzzed with a text from Rachel. Where are you? Pasta's getting cold. Miss you. I stared at that heart emoji until my vision blurred. Then I did something I'd never done before. I went home and I lied to my wife's face. Sorry, babe, I said, walking into our kitchen at 9:15 p.m. Server migration was more complicated than I thought. She'd set the table. Candles, wine, the good plates. She smiled and wrapped her arms around me, standing on her toes to kiss me properly this time. I made your favorite, she whispered against my mouth. We ate dinner. I asked about her day. She told me about the grocery store, about a funny TikTok she'd seen, about how her boss had complimented her presentation at work. She worked in medical device sales for a company called Bexler Medical. Been there for 7 years. Made good money. Always talked about how lucky she felt to have found a career she loved. I watched her talk, watched her laugh, watched her twirl pasta on her fork, and I wondered which version was real, this woman, or the one on a plane to Paris. That night, while she slept beside me, I went through her phone. It was almost too clean. No suspicious texts, no strange calls, no dating apps. Her email was full of work correspondence, online shopping receipts, subscription confirmations. Her calendar showed client meetings, yoga classes, dinners with friends, all normal. Too normal. At 2:47 a.m., I found it. A second iCloud account. Different email address, rachel.morrison2@gmail.com. Her maiden name. I knew her password. We'd always shared everything. 1. Password for everything. Maui 2019, the year we got engaged. I tried it. Access granted. Inside were 1,147 messages to someone named Cole Bradshaw, the silver-haired man from the airport photo. I read them all. Every single one. Can't wait to see Paris with you. Finally leaving this boring suburban life behind. R. Jake will never suspect. Keep playing the devoted wife until the money transfers clear. C. He actually bought me the jacket I wanted. So predictable. Wearing it on the plane will be poetic. R. You're sure he won't notice the accounts? C. He's an IT guy, not a financial analyst. As long as I keep the transfers small, he'll never see them. R. I love you. This waiting is torture. 6 more months and we're free. C. I know, but we have to be smart. If he gets suspicious, I lose everything. His inheritance, his savings, the house equity. We stick to the plan. R. There were photos too. Rachel and Cole at a restaurant I didn't recognize. Rachel and Cole in what looked like a hotel room. Rachel laughing, radiant, alive in a way I hadn't seen in months. And then I found the folder labeled Documents, bank statements for the Cayman account, a lease agreement for an apartment in Paris's 7th arrondissement, travel itineraries, and a legal document titled Dissolution of Marriage Draft. She'd already written the divorce papers. My hands weren't shaking anymore. They were completely steady. I took screenshots of everything, every message, every photo, every document. I uploaded them all to my personal encrypted cloud storage, the one Rachel didn't know about, the one I used for client work. Then I cleared my browsing history and put her phone back exactly where I'd found it. When I woke up the next morning, Rachel was making pancakes. Morning, sleepyhead, she said, kissing my forehead. Coffee's ready. I smiled, hugged her, told her the pancakes smelled amazing, and I started planning. Trevor called me Monday afternoon. I found the LLC owner, Cole Bradshaw, 58 years old, CEO of Bradshaw Capital Partners, venture capital firm, manages about $400 million in assets, divorced twice, 3 grown kids, clean record, but his second ex-wife's divorce filing mentioned habitual infidelity and financial manipulation. Can you keep digging? Jake, I have to ask, what are you going to do with this information? I don't know yet, but I need to know everything before I decide. Okay, give me a few more days. That week was the strangest of my life. I went to work, work, came home, had dinner with Rachel, watched TV, made love to her. The whole time, I was thinking about those messages, about Cole Bradshaw, about $340,000, about that apartment in Paris. Rachel never once slipped up. She was perfect, attentive, loving. She asked about my day, laughed at my jokes, told me she loved me. Tuesday night, she made my favorite meal, her grandmother's lasagna recipe, the one she only made for special occasions. She'd lit candles, put on the playlist from our wedding reception, wore the dress I'd always said I loved. "What's the occasion?" I asked, forcing a smile. "No occasion," she said, pouring wine. "I just love you. Sometimes I forget to show it properly." I watched her across the table, candlelight catching the gold in her eyes, and I wondered if this was guilt, if some part of her knew this was goodbye, if she was playing a role, or if, in that moment, some fragment of the old Rachel, the one who'd cried at our wedding, who'd held my hand through my father's funeral, who'd stayed up all night with me when I was sick, was trying to surface one last time. "I love you too," I said. And in that moment, I meant it. I loved the woman I thought she was, the woman in my memories, the ghost that wore her face. Wednesday, Trevor sent me another update. "The offshore account isn't just receiving your money. There are deposits from 3 other sources. Looks like Bradshaw has been running this scheme before. You're not his first mark. You're just the latest. Can you trace the other sources?" "Working on it. But Jake, this is bigger than an affair. This is organized financial fraud. Bradshaw has a pattern. Targets successful, financially stable men through their wives or girlfriends, romances the women, convinces them to siphon funds slowly, promises them a new life. Then once the account is fat enough, he disappears with everything." My hands clenched around my phone. "So Rachel isn't even special to him. She's just another mark." "Probably. I found his dating profile on an exclusive millionaire matchmaking site, active as of 2 days ago. While he's texting Rachel about their future together, he's already hunting for the next target." That night, I looked at Rachel differently, not just as my betrayer, but as his victim too. She thought she'd found her soulmate, her escape from suburban monotony. She thought she was the exception, the one who'd finally tamed the Silver Fox CEO. She had no idea she was just inventory. Thursday morning, I called Deborah again. "I need to know, if I gather everyone together to reveal this, could that hurt my legal case?" "It's risky," she admitted. "Defense attorneys could argue you're attempting to publicly humiliate her, which might make judges less sympathetic. But if you frame it correctly, as transparency, as protecting others from similar fraud, as ensuring witnesses to prevent her from controlling the narrative, it could actually strengthen your position. Shows you're not hiding, not ashamed, and have nothing to fear from scrutiny. What if she never comes back? What if she stays in Paris? Then the criminal charges hit her anyway. The FBI doesn't need her permission to prosecute. And if she becomes a fugitive, that only makes her look worse. Either way, Jake, you win. The question is whether you want a quiet win or a public one." I thought about that leather jacket, about her laughing in those photos, about the message calling me predictable. "Public," I said. "I want everyone to know." On Thursday, she mentioned casually that her sister in Boston had invited her to visit the following weekend. "Just a girl's weekend," she said, chopping vegetables for a stir-fry. "Claire's going through a tough time with her divorce. She needs support." "Of course," I said. "You should go. When are you leaving?" "Saturday morning. Back Monday night. I'll miss you." She kissed me. "I'll miss you too, babe." I studied her face, looking for cracks, for guilt, for anything that might indicate she felt even a flicker of remorse. Nothing. Her eyes were clear, her smile genuine. She'd compartmentalized so completely that I might as well have been a character in a movie she was watching, not a real person she'd shared 5 years with. That night, I checked her hidden email account. New messages from Cole. "Flights booked. See you Saturday at CDG. Finally. C, I can't wait. Told Jake I'm visiting my sister. He bought it completely. R, once you're here, we don't have to hide anymore. C, 6 months of lying. Worth it for this. Love you. R, bring the documents. We need to close the final accounts as soon as you land. C, everything's ready. By Monday, Jake won't be able to touch any of it." RI took screenshots of those too. Friday night, I made one more call. Deborah Santos, 23 years practicing family law, partner at Santos and Wright. I'd used her firm for some contract reviews when I'd started my consulting business. "Deborah, I need advice. Hypothetically speaking, if someone discovered their spouse was planning to leave them and had already stolen significant assets. Jake, is this about you and Rachel? Hypothetically. Okay? Hypothetically, documentation is everything. Financial records, communications, evidence of intent. If you can prove premeditated theft and fraud, especially if marital assets were moved to hide them, you're looking at criminal charges on top of civil liability, but you'd need ironclad evidence. What if I had screenshots of messages detailing the theft, bank records, photos, and a witness who saw her board the plane with her accomplice?" Deborah was quiet for a moment. "Then, hypothetically, you'd have one of the strongest cases I've ever seen. But Jake, what? Make sure you're ready for what comes next. Once you light this match, there's no putting it out. Your Your life becomes public. Her life becomes public. Everything gets examined. Are you prepared for that? I looked around our kitchen, the refrigerator covered in our photos, the coffee maker we'd bought together, the herb garden she tended in the window. Yes, I said, I'm ready. Then document everything, every lie she tells, every movement. And when you're ready to strike, make sure it's decisive. No warning, no second chances, just truth. Understood. Saturday morning, Rachel was packed by 7 a.m. One suitcase, carry-on only. Traveling light, she said, smiling. Just a weekend trip. I helped her load the suitcase into her Honda Civic, kissed her goodbye, told her to drive safely. Love you, she said. Love you too. I watched her drive away. Then I waited exactly 1 hour, and I started making calls. First, Emma. Can you confirm Rachel's on your flight to Paris today? Already checked. She's boarded. Same guy as last time. Jake, what's going on? I'll explain soon. Can you take more photos? Anything that shows them together? Sure. But Emma, trust me, please. Next, I called Trevor. I need you to meet me at my house in 2 hours. Bring copies of everything you found, every document, every record. Jake, please. Then I started calling family and friends. My parents, Rachel's parents, our closest friends from college, my co-workers who'd been to our wedding, Rachel's co-workers from Bexler Medical. The message was always the same. Emergency gathering at our place, 6 p.m. tonight. Rachel's in serious trouble. Please come. I'll explain everything then. By 5:30 p.m., 23 people had crammed into our living room. Rachel's mother kept asking where Rachel was. Her father looked worried, checking his phone every 30 seconds. My mother kept touching my arm, asking if I was okay, her eyes searching mine for answers I wasn't ready to give. Friends whispered to each other, confused. Sarah and David Miller, our neighbors from 2 doors down, sat uncomfortably on the ottoman. We'd had dinner with them twice a month for 3 years. Kelly Brennan, Rachel's best friend since college, kept texting Rachel's phone. My co-worker, Amit, who'd been my best man, stood near the kitchen, arms crossed, looking concerned. Emma had flown in from her layover in Seattle, still in her pilot's uniform. Jake, seriously, what's going on? Kelly asked. Rachel's not answering. I'm getting worried. You will be, I said quietly. Just wait. At exactly 6 p.m., I connected my laptop to our TV. Trevor stood near the door, his private security instincts on alert, ready to handle any outbursts. Deborah had advised me to have someone present who could serve as a neutral witness to everyone's reactions. Thank you all for coming, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. I know this is unusual, but I needed you all here to witness something. Because what I'm about to show you, Rachel would deny. She'd call me crazy. She'd say I doctored evidence. She'd try to make me the villain. So I need you all to see this together. Witnesses. Rachel's mother stood up, her face pale. Jake, you're scaring me. Where is Rachel? Rachel, I said calmly, pulling up my laptop screen, is currently at 37,000 feet somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean on a flight to Paris. Let me show you. I pulled up the photos Emma had sent. There was Rachel at the gate, looking radiant. Rachel boarding the plane, her carry-on in one hand, Cole's hand in the other. Rachel sitting in first class, seat 3A, champagne in hand, leaning into Cole Bradshaw, their fingers intertwined on the armrest between them. The timestamp showed 11:42 a.m. today, 5 hours ago. But she said, Rachel's mother started, her voice breaking. She said she was going to Boston to see Claire. I finished, my voice flat. Your daughter, Claire, who's been in Phoenix all week at a nursing conference. I called her this morning to confirm. She has no idea Rachel was supposedly visiting her. Kelly's hand flew to her mouth. Oh my God. I projected Emma's latest photo on the TV. Rachel and Cole, clearly intimate, clearly together. His hand on her thigh, her head on his shoulder. The kind of body language you can't fake, can't explain away. Who is that man? Rachel's father demanded, his voice tight with controlled rage. That's Cole Bradshaw, 58 years old, CEO of Bradshaw Capital Partners, a venture capital firm managing approximately $400 million in assets. He's been divorced twice, has 3 adult children, and he's been having an affair with your daughter for at least 8 months. I clicked to the next slide. Screenshots of their messages, blown up on our 65-inch TV so everyone could read them clearly. Can't wait to start our new life together in Paris. Finally free. Are worth every penny I invested in you. You'll be worth it. See, Jake has no idea I've been draining our accounts. He's so trusting. Almost feel bad. Almost. Rachel's mother gasped. Her father's face went white. I kept clicking through the messages. Every damning conversation. Every photo. Every detail of their plan. Over the past 6 months, I continued, my voice steady, clinical. Rachel has systematically transferred $340,000 from our joint accounts and my personal savings into an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. Small transfers, always under $10,000 to avoid federal reporting requirements. I showed them the bank records Trevor had compiled. Every transfer, highlighted in yellow. The dates, the amounts, the destination account. She used company resources from Bexler Medical to facilitate these transfers, I said. Company computers, company time, which means this isn't just just theft from me. It's theft from her employer, misuse of corporate resources, and potentially fraud. I pulled up the next document, the Paris apartment lease. She and Mr. Bradshaw signed a 3-year lease on a luxury apartment in Paris's 7th arrondissement. Monthly rent, $4,500. They plan to use my money, our money, to fund their new life together. Rachel's father was shaking. This can't be real. I wish it wasn't. I clicked to the next slide. This is the draft divorce petition Rachel prepared, filed electronically on October 15th. Never filed with the court, just saved to her private cloud account. The room was dead silent except for Rachel's mother crying. I've already filed reports with the FBI's Financial Crimes Division, the District Attorney's Office, and Bexler Medical's Corporate Ethics Board, I said. As of 3 p.m. today, all joint accounts have been frozen. The offshore account has been flagged for investigation, and I've filed for divorce, citing fraud, theft, and emotional abandonment. My phone buzzed. Unknown Paris number. I held it up so everyone could see. That's probably Rachel, realizing she can't access the money. I answered on speaker. What the fuck did you do? Rachel's voice filled the room, shrill and panicked. The account is frozen. Cole's bank rejected the transfer. Jake, you bastard. Hi, Rachel, I said calmly. You're on speaker. Your parents are here. My parents, Emma, Trevor, most of our friends. We're all watching the photos of you and Cole in Paris, the ones Emma took while piloting your flight. Dead silence on the other end. Rachel? Her mother's voice was shattered. Is this true? Mom? Oh my God, Mom, I can explain. Can you explain the $340,000 you stole? I asked. Or the messages about how stupid and predictable I am? Or the fact that you've been planning this for 8 months? Jake, please. This isn't what it looks like. Your boyfriend Cole left you at the hotel, didn't he? I said. Once he realized the money wasn't coming. Once he realized this wasn't a fantasy anymore but a criminal investigation. How long did it take him to bail? An hour? 2? He's coming back. He just needs to... Rachel, the FBI is going to want to talk to you when you land back in the U.S. Bexler Medical has already terminated your employment. I've changed the locks on our house. Your belongings will be boxed up and sent to your parents' address. You can't do this to me. I didn't do this to you, I said quietly. You did this to yourself. You just thought you were smarter than everyone else, that we'd never figure it out. I hate you. You ruined everything. No, Rachel. I audited our marriage, and you failed. I hung up. The room was still silent. Rachel's mother had her face in her hands. Her father looked like he'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. My own mother was crying quietly. Then Trevor held up his phone. Jake, you need to see this. He'd been monitoring Rachel's social media accounts. Someone had posted the airport photos, Emma, I realized, tagging Rachel's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. The comments were already flooding in. Is this real? OMG. Rachel, you're married. Who is that old guy? Wait, wasn't she just posting about loving her husband? Her LinkedIn profile, the one where she presented herself as a trusted medical device sales professional, was being bombarded with messages. Colleagues, clients. Her professional network was watching her image collapse in real time. My phone buzzed again. Different number. I answered without putting it on speaker this time. Mr. Garrison, this is Detective Lisa Huang with the San Francisco District Attorney's Financial Crimes Unit. We received your complaint this afternoon. I'd like to schedule a formal interview. We're very interested in the documentation you mentioned. Of course, Detective. When works for you? Monday morning, 9 a.m. Bring everything. I'll be there. When I hung up, everyone was staring at me. That was the DA's office, I said. They're opening a criminal investigation. Rachel's father finally spoke. Jake, I'm so sorry. We had no idea. I know you didn't. If we'd known, it's not your fault. She fooled everyone. That's what made her good at it. They left slowly, one by one. Hugs, apologies, shock. Rachel's parents stayed the longest, her mother sobbing, apologizing over and over for their daughter's betrayal. When everyone was gone, I sat alone in the living room we'd decorated together. The couch we'd picked out at IKEA. The rug Rachel had found at a flea market. The photos on the wall from our wedding, our honeymoon, our life. My phone buzzed one more time. Please, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I'm scared. I'm alone. Please help me. Please. I looked at that message for a long time. Then I blocked the number, poured myself a drink, and sat in the silence. 3 weeks later, Detective Huang called. Mr. Garrison, I wanted to update you. We've formally charged Rachel Garrison with wire fraud, theft, and conspiracy to commit financial fraud. Mr. Bradshaw is also being investigated. If convicted, she's looking at 5 to 7 years federal prison time. What about the money? We've recovered $287,000 so far. The rest was spent on the Paris apartment deposit and travel. You'll get most of it back, minus legal fees and restitution costs. Thank you, Detective. For what it's worth, Mr. Garrison, you handled this exactly right. Documentation, evidence, witnesses. Most people confront their spouse, get into a screaming match, destroy the evidence. You stayed calm, built a case. That's rare. I work in IT security, I said. I know how to document vulnerabilities. She laughed, short and sharp. Well, you documented this one perfectly. The divorce divorce was finalized 4 months later. I got the house, my savings minus what she'd stolen, and a clean break. Rachel took a plea deal. 3 years in federal prison, full restitution, permanent record. Cole Bradshaw lost his CEO position when the board discovered he'd been using company funds to wire money to Rachel. His reputation in venture capital was destroyed. I sold the house 6 months after the divorce finalized. Too many ghosts. Emma came to help me pack. "You doing okay?" she asked, wrapping glasses in newspaper. "Better than I expected," I said. "You know what the weird part is?" "What?" "I'm not even angry anymore. I was for a while, but now I just feel relieved, like I escaped something that would have destroyed me eventually." "You did escape," Emma said, "because I called you that day." "Yeah," I looked at her. "Thank you for that, for trusting your gut. That's what family does." My phone buzzed. A message from a number I didn't recognize. "I'm out on bail. Can we talk? I've changed. I'm getting therapy. Please, R." I showed Emma. She raised an eyebrow. "You going to respond?" I deleted the message and blocked the number. "No," I said. "Some stories don't get happy endings. They just get endings."